George Arthur Marlowe, having heard the charges against you, how do you plead?
Prime Suspect stands accused of being one of the best TV series of its time.
Not guilty, sir.
To prove our case, we question the suspects.
I'm not Jane Tennyson, and I never have been.
And examine the scenes.
It's a Grade 2 listed school for a Grade 2 listed actor.
Of these infamous episodes.
To have that on British television, I think, was quite shocking.
And deliver our verdict.
It's done. The case has been stated. Thank you very much. Good night.
In Prime Suspect, Behind the Scenes. Northwick Park Hospital in North London has been the scene of many a real-life drama, but today it's providing the backdrop for the final act of a fictional drama that has played on British TV screens for over 15 years.
We knew this was going to be the last one, and therefore there was an extra pressure on it, and in some ways it needed to finish the series.
Prime Suspect first transmitted in 1991 and ran for 7 series, a total of over 22 hours of primetime detective drama, with Helen Mirren as the tough female cop.
P.C.I. Tennyson? I didn't realise at the time, as you never do, you know, how iconic it would become.
A piece of common mythology that sprung up is that it was created for Helen Mirren. It was not created for Helen Mirren.
She wasn't killed where her body was dumped. She was brought there, so someone might have seen something.
I just phoned up her agent, sent the script. Can she read it? Can she come back to me within a week? 5 days later, yes.
Good morning. Like everyone else in this room, I am saddened and deeply shocked by this tragedy.
First and foremost, it's a detective story. It's a crime thriller. But I think what was added to this is that it put a female detective in charge of a murder squad, something which certainly fictionally had not been done before, and there were very few women in the higher echelons of the police force in those days.
All I ask of you is your undivided loyalty and attention. Does anyone have anything to say?
I do. Look, I know you asked for this case specifically.
You don't like it, put him for a transfer, and it will be dealt with via the normal channels.
It was a reflection of what had been going on for the past 15 or 20 years, but nobody had actually mentioned. And in a sense, it was 5 or 10 years out of date, but it couldn't have been done 5 or 10 years before.
Written by ex-actor Linda LaPlante, the first episode was innovative in more ways than one.
You knew it was Linda LaPlante, but we were used to Linda LaPlante, you know, everyone being bank robbers or, you know, widows or the other stuff that she'd written.
I got the script and said to my wife, well, I'll just look at this. And 4 hours later, and a bottle of wine later, I suspect, I read from page 1 right through to the end. It's not often you pick up a script, read it for the first time, and know that you've got a cast-iron, copper-bottomed success.
I don't want to waste any more time. I want that landlady re-interviewed and all the tenants. We have to find Della Mornay.
You know, it predated CSI and all those programs that we're all obsessed with now, you know, with forensics. It was, I think, spot on all those little details, which, if you're involved in that, and I'm sure if you are a policeman, it's a very boring life. And that's what we had to replicate.
I want all Della's associates, the Vice girls, brought in and re-interviewed and recorded, please. We must find out where Della Mornay was last seen, where she is now.
You know, I'm not a very good judge of scripts, I have to say, but I did recognise it was a great role. And you know, I loved the script. I thought it was great, but you never know how it's going to come out.
I found it absolutely gripping. And that's the first time I've ever been right through a script. There was no chance, there was no way I was going to get up and have a cup of tea because I wanted to know what happened next. And you think, what is the mark of a good script? What's the mark of a great story? I must know what happens next.
Shut it, all of you! Now, I know how you must all feel, but give it the best you got.
I think having someone like Helen Mirren on board was, you knew it was going to be classy at least. You know, no one knew that, you know, she was going to get all the awards and it was going to get a lot of attention, because you can't predict those things. I mean, obviously, there were a few people around who said, oh, this is going to run forever and ever and we're all going to have jobs.
Everyone's like, you know what, I've just heard, this is going to go, they're going to do a series here, 46 episodes. And I started it off. First of all, it started on 6, then I come in the next day and go, yeah, but guess what? They're doing 175 episodes.
Although initial reaction to the script was favourable, some was still nervous about the subject matter.
There was great fear in the television company of making something that had a female character driving the story. I don't think they were at all convinced that it was going to be successful.
And it had come out of a wilderness of television. There'd been really nothing. Everyone had latched on to this idea of, you know, reality television was coming in. There were loads of quiz shows. There was lots of cheap television coming out at that time. It was television designed to cost very little and make as much money as possible. And suddenly Granada produced something which cost them an awful lot of money to make, and it looked great. And it was like an oasis in this rather flat desert of mediocrity and mediocre TV that had been going on for years beforehand.
It was one of them shows where the country stays in. I remember going out the next day and people come out and they phone me going, oh, that programme's unbelievable.
And it was thrilling to us that 14 million people tune in and watch stories where we just made no concessions and pulled no punches.
Coming up, the real-life Tennyson.
When you met that lady, you were scared. You were really frightened. You knew this girl was tough.
And Young Guns.
It was great to work with young actors. They're so excited and optimistic and full of energy, so they're really great.
On Prime Suspect, Behind the Scenes.